While I was recording a class for LinkedIn Learning, our director of photography, Jake, helped fill in for the model so I could tweak the lights. Now, this shot wasn't meant to see the light of day, but I really liked what we did here. What I want to do now is with this fake cigar, is I want to add a little smoke to that cigar. And while we're here, I might as well touch up some of the scene. So what we can do is search the net for brushes for Photoshop, which I have here, a smoke brush by Q Brushes. And I'm going to download it. And once I download it, I'm going to come over here and show you the best way to install it. So here's the actual brush itself. I'm going to right mouse click on it, copy it, and then what I want to do is come over to my hard drive, and I've created a folder just for brushes. So from here, I'm going to find the folder. Then I can simply paste the new brushes here. Now, the easiest way to install brushes is by right mouse clicking on the brush itself, and then select Open, then Open with Photoshop. Now, before we do that, let's do a little maintenance first. I'm going to pull my drop-down list for all my brushes. If you notice, I've collected a lot of brushes over the years. So what I want to do is get rid of all these brushes, but I still want to save them. So come over here to the gear icon and save brushes. Now this whole brush set is saved under Vanelli Master Brushes. Once it's done, I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to reset my brushes. So these are the brushes that come with Photoshop. Now let's go back to the brush download. Right mouse click, Open with, and I'm going to click Photoshop. Once I do that, notice the smoke brushes appeared. Now let's get started. From here, I don't want to paint directly on the background layer. What I want to do is create a separate layer. Before I do any of this, I want to put all my special effects on him. So I wrote a quick action that applies my sport preset look to the scene, along with using Perfectly Clear to make the image just jump out. You can apply anything you want, but by creating a smart object, now we have smart filters. So I love how this looks. Notice we don't have the smoke installed yet. Before I go a step further, I'm going to double click and just tweak my Perfectly Clear settings. Perfectly Clear didn't detect his eyes, so I'm going to manually select the eyes. And look at the change. So here we go, before, after. Just that little tweak. And I hit apply. Great, I love how it's looking. And once you hit apply, by the way, Photoshop's going to rerun those filters. Now, if I double click on the smart object, it's going to open up the original image we have. This is where I'm going to add that smoke. So I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to select my brush, and the brush will choose, let's pick this smoke. Good. Making sure you're painting in white on this new layer. I'm just going to put the smoke here. Control T to transform it. Rotate it. Okay, that looks good. If I right mouse click in here, I can also pick Distort. And I can just tweak it just a little bit further. Good, and again, just add it to your taste. There we go. And hit apply. Now what I want to do is make this a little bit softer. So now I'm going to come back up here and grab a soft brush. And using the eraser tool, I'm going to just slightly erase out some of it. Good. and then just reposition it into place. Great, and last, let's change the opacity just a little bit, right about there. Good, so now that we added a little smoke effect, I'm going to save it. Now once I save it, again, Photoshop is going to re-render the smart filters for us. Now that it's done, let's look at the change, and there we have it. It applied that special effect onto this. Now that's a little too sharp for my taste, so let's go back and change the opacity down a little bit more, right about here. Save it, and let's look at the change. There we go, much better. Now while we're here, let's go back to the smart object. Let's copy this little floor here and Control J to bring it to a new layer. Edit, transform, and let's just rotate it or flip it horizontal and slide it into place. So that looks good there. And we could tweak it a little bit further if we want. And all I'm doing here is I select the clone stamp tool with a larger brush and just come right down so the seam isn't there. Great. Let's save it again. And let's look at the change. There it is. Now, while we're here, again, just to take it another step further, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these lights, and maybe you don't want the lights in the picture, so let's do this. I'm going to create a whole new layer here, and this one, I want to select the lights, Shift backspace, we'll come up with Content Aware Fill, and we're going to remove the light on the left side. Good, and then on the right side. Great, and save it. Now let's see the changes, and there we have it. So just by using smart objects, we're able to create smart filters, and then from there, if we want to add special effects like the smoke, we apply it on a separate layer, and then from that separate layer, we could tweak it even further.